Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to on this quite frankly amazing day. To be fair, Scotland's always like this. We just tell you it rains to try and keep you out of the country. No. Anyway, so today's workout is going to be 5 times 8-minute intervals with 2.5 minutes rest in between. But we're going to split up those 5-minute intervals into 2 chunks. We're going to do 5 minutes and 3 minutes. Now both of them are going to be done at 24 strokes per minute, but the first 5 minutes is going to be done at 2k plus 12 pace, so up there intensity wise, probably around about 7 out of 10. And the next 3 minutes are going to be done at round about 2k plus 5 pace. Now we're looking at really kind of around about 9 out of 10 there, and trust me, by the end of this workout it is going to feel like 10 out of 10 to get through those last 3 minutes. Okay, so this is really about working on power as you get towards the end of a tough row. Okay, so whether this is a part of your 10k plans or whether it's just you want to be good at being able to last all the way to the end, that's what you're training here. Okay, so there's the intensity in terms of cardio, trying to hold on, but there's also kind of training that feel of how to put in power towards the end of a row rather than just flailing up and down the rail to try and get pace that way. Okay, so as such, this is being used as the 10k plan week 3 session 1, but you don't have to be doing the 10k plan to get the benefit out of this. Okay, this is a great row no matter what row you're doing. This is fantastic for a 1 minute, a 500 meter, a 1k, 2k, 5k, 6, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. That guy using the strimmer, he'd benefit from it as well. Okay, so don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be part of the plan. Just do it. This is an incredible session, and I'll tell you why when we get into the main row. However, let's start off with our 4-minute warm-up. Now, as always, we start off by setting up our machine, because we start everything by starting off, don't we? Set the drag factor first. On the Concept 2, that's done by this lever here. If you don't know about drag factor, please check out the video I have on this YouTube channel. I'm setting mine to run about 115. You might want to set yours for around about there. You never know. If you're not using a Concept 2 and it's all just about resistance or something, then just set it to a point where you get a good old weight from the stroke, but it doesn't feel as though you're really having to launch and lurch into it with your upper back in order to be able to row. That's really important. Power comes from your legs. Next up, go to your monitor and set it to eye height so you're not looking up and you're not looking down. And finally, set the foot straps or the height of your foot stretchers so you can get to a point where you come into the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertical comfortably. Okay, if you're too high, you might find you're starting to really get bound up and fight against it. If you're too low, you might find you're going flying straight past it and actually the strap's covering like the tips of your toes, and you don't want that either. So really the strap should probably cover the balls of your feet. That's the good guide here, but that shins vertical position is the real guide. Cool. Right, shades on. Let's get into this warm-up. So we're going to do 18 strokes a minute, and to start with, the power is just going to be the same as if you were basically standing up, okay? Because we're just going to work on our timing. So a little bit of pressure from the feet, but not too much. Here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So by timing, what I mean is that you get the power generation of the stroke by pushing your feet into the foot plates. But in order to get that power, you have to connect that power to your hands and the handle. And the handle has to pick up the flywheel or the water wheel or whatever you're using on your machine. So it should stand to reason that you want that power from your feet to happen at exactly the same time the handle picks up the flywheel. And that's what you're working on the timing for, is that as you push with the feet, the handle picks up the force, whatever you want to call it, of your rowing machine. If you push too soon with the feet, your backside will scoot back. And if you're lucky like me on the Concept 2, you can hear the seat going before you hear the whoosh of the flywheel. If you pull too early on the handle, then you'll just feel it all go weightless and you're kind of having to fight with your upper body and your arms instead of feeling like you're getting a leg drive. So if you never really feel like you're getting a good solid leg drive into the machine, that could be why. Okay, increase the pace a little bit, maybe up towards 2k plus 20 for the next 20 seconds. And if you don't know what I'm on about with 2k plus something, do a 2 kilometer time trial, divide the result by 4, that gives you your 2k training pace. And then when I say add 20 seconds, you just go 20 seconds slower than that average time. Okay, let's continue rowing with 1 foot in the straps. Sorry, I was too busy talking about 2K training pace. I forgot to tell you to take a foot out and put it on the ground. So do that now, if you haven't already. Carry on rowing with just 1 foot strapped in. Try to keep the same kind of technique here. Don't over compress into the front, but also don't over lean with your back. Let's swap feet. Continue with the other one. I'll talk more technique and body position stuff in the main session, but just know that as you come forwards, you want to have a forward lean and straight arms, and then you push out with the legs. But that forward lean should only be to run about 1 o'clock on the clock face. You're not looking at like 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock would be bad. One more. Okay, both feet in, legs straight, and just row with your back and arms. So swing your back first, and you'll feel it pick up the flywheel, that power again. And then once you've picked up the flywheel with your back, pull in your arms. And then push out your arms, swing back over your back. Really important, that return of the handle and then swing. Okay, let's roll to the front of the machine with straight arms and just push out from the front. You're working on timing again here and that position of the forward lean and the straight arms, so do not worry about power. All you're worrying about is making sure you connect the feet and the hands at the same time with that forward lean and arms straight. One more. Yeah, we're all done. Okay, apologies if I flew through the 2K training pace thing there. If you're like, oh, I didn't get any of that, check out the description to this video and there's an explanation at the bottom about how to work out your 2K training pace, and that will hopefully let you know what's going on. Right, have a quick drink, move up and down the rail, and I will quickly describe one more time what we're doing today before we do what we're doing today. Okay, once again then what we're doing is 5 times 8-minute intervals with 2.5 minutes rest in between. We're going to do those 8-minute intervals as 5 minutes and 3 minutes with no rest in between, and you're going to do the first 5 minutes at 24 strokes a minute and 2K plus 12 pace, and then the next 3 minutes at 2K plus 5 pace. Don't worry if all that's complicated and confusing, just keep up with me and all will be fine. So if you just follow me for stroke rate, either on the video or in the podcast, I will tell you when to go faster, when to stop, and all that kind of stuff, all right? So let's just get into this. This is a interestingly spicy session. Like I say, these initial 5 minutes will feel around about 7 out of 10 from an effort point of view, and then those next 3 minutes will eventually climb up to like 9, 10 out of 10. But don't worry, that's how this session is designed to be, okay? Right, so let's get into our first 5 minutes at 24 strokes per minute and at 2K plus 12 pace. In 3, 2, 1, go. Right, so I'll give a couple of minutes for you to get used to being up at pace and stroke rate before I start talking technique and things, but hopefully you'll find that pace and stroke rate within about 30 seconds. Then I'll just let you settle in. Make sure you're nice and warm, then we can start thinking about a few of the technique elements. But what I was alluding to earlier on is that this is actually the second day in a row I've done this session. Did it yesterday in similar heat and stupidly left the camera sitting in the sun. And it overheated and shut itself off. So I posted on the Facebook page for people's opinions as to whether I just post the audio on its own or whether I do it again. And I think the moment I said it was tough, that's when everyone started to say, do it again, do it again. just to see, just to put me through some suffer. It'll be interesting to see how this one pans out compared to yesterday. Partly because I know what I went through yesterday, so I'll know not to panic, but also this is 2 quite mid to top intensity sessions in a row, and I normally recommend taking either a day's rest or doing a recovery row in between mid or top tier workouts. So let's see whether my energy system has it in it to do as well as I did yesterday. Right. Oh, it's my watch asking if I'm rowing. Hang on. Yes. Very clever. So, as we go up to the 2K plus 5 pace in just under, or well, bang on 100 seconds time, you're gonna keep at the same stroke rate. So you're gonna get there by putting more power into the machine at the same rate. And that power is from the legs, not from the arms. Okay? So you'll find as we cross into that 3-minute chunk, it may take you a couple of strokes to work out just how hard to push in order to suddenly increase by 7 seconds. But trust me, the answer is a lot. So as we cross into that chunk, just start pushing hard. Hello, with your legs. It's Julie back from a run. I think she found it hot today, and she lies in the grass. Out with shot, of course. Okay, 2, 1. Here we go. Up to 2K plus 5. So really push with the legs in order to get that pace up. Might take 20 seconds or so this first time round for you to get that feel, but you'll probably agree, like I said, it takes more than you think it would. Now, this is where my whole thing of keeping that forward lean and straight arms really comes into play, as that is how you make sure all that power from your legs goes into the machine. If you bend your arms too early on the drive, or swing your back too early, you will be fighting against that power output from your legs, and will find it harder to hit the required pace. Okay, 20 strokes to go. Just keep pushing with your legs. Think about pushing the machine away from you rather than pulling the handle back, and that should keep your positions in the right angles. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, first rest. Make sure, whether you are outside in the sun like me or in a nice air-conditioned gym, still make sure to drink. Hydration will be your enemy on this if you don't take regular drinks. And I learned after yesterday's attempt that that's what did me in. By intervals 4 and 5, I overheated being out in the sun. Nice Christmas tea towel. It's August. Yeah, so I'm making sure to drink and put ice in it today, see if it lowers my core temperature a bit, or at least stops it getting too hot. So there we go. That's the first of these chunks done. Hopefully you now understand what we're doing. So that first 5 minutes is slightly more intense, obviously, than just doing a 20 strokes per minute at 2k plus 18. And that kind of knocks the edge off you. That's the point of it, is that by the time you come up to that 3 minute push, the freshness of your legs is gone. Because if you normally sat down and did 3 minutes at 2k plus 5 at 24 strokes a minute, you wouldn't be anywhere near the state that you're going to be in the end of this. So, and like I say, this is a mid and top kind of shuffle. The 5 minutes is mid, the 3 minutes will take you into top. But if you coalesce it all together, this is like a mid-tier workout. Okay, so, but it's definitely, it's the toughest mid of the week, put it that way. Right, 15 seconds to go. Maybe reseat your seat, make sure that your sit bones are pressing on a different part of your glutes. We're going in 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So back down to 2k plus 12 pace, but still at 24 strokes per minute. My favourite pace, or favourite stroke rate. There's just something about the rhythm of 24 that I just seem to click with. It's the one that I feel most comfortable at. But yeah, I'll still feel comfortable at 20. I'll still feel comfortable at 30, but I could just power along all day at 24, albeit not in today's session. So even though we're just 2k plus 12 here, still take time to work on the timing of your feet and hands connection. It's almost like you're refining your technique over these 5-minute chunks, so that when you're a bit more on the nose for power in the 3-minute chunks, this technique and timing is already locked in. Remember, for both of these paces, don't get lulled into thinking that over leaning to get more chain length is the key. If you over lean into the front, chances are all you'll do is send your butt out from underneath you and lose 6 inches worth of leg drive for the sake of 2 inches worth of chain length, which, after all, you're not going to be doing much with if your leg drive is missing. So come into the front, all ready for the drive. Don't lean an extra amount just as you come forward. And that's a coaching cue to myself, as that's my biggest issue. And I can tell when I get it wrong, because my pace drops by 1 or 2 seconds, and then I can tell when I get it right, because my pace increases by 1 or 2 seconds. I seem to have made friends with a wasp. Let's hope it doesn't end up a bad relationship. Okay, 8 more strokes to go before we ramp up again. Remember, it's all about a hard push from the legs. 2, 1, here we go. You should really hear the tone of your machine change quite handily. A plane has just flown overhead, so it's one way to change the tone of your machine. But you should hear this real rip through the air or water as you lay in the power. 2 minutes to go. Remember, hold those arms straight and braced against the power coming out from your legs, like a kind of like a water skier, how they have straight arms, although they do tend to lean back as well. I don't want you doing that. Whew. Push the machine away. Push it through the wall. 24 to go. Or push it into the treadmill in front of you in the gym or wherever you are. Just concentrate on pushing the machine away from you with your feet, and only think about pulling at the back of the stroke. Okay, 7, almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1. That one will probably have felt a little bit tougher. Certainly was for me. My finishing heart rate was 5% more, but I think heat and talking to you is costing me quite a lot of heart rate. So don't worry about me, worry about yourself. Drink. And if you are wearing a heart rate monitor, rather than worrying too much about how you're getting on in the intervals themselves, keep more of an eye on how you're recovering in this 2.5 minutes, because that's more of a sign of how fit you are, is how quickly your heart rate tries to return to as close as normal as it would get during this row. So if you finish at like 160 ppm and after 2.5 minutes you're still up at 150, that has fitness warnings. But if you finish at 160 and then you start the next one at round about 80, so you've dropped like pretty much, well, exactly half in that instance, that's a good sign of your fitness, that your cardio system is able to recover quite well. So I finished at 159, and with 40 seconds to go, I'm at 94, 93. So that's more important to me than where my heart rate gets up to in an interval, because I know in a workout like this, I am working hard. I don't need my heart rate to tell me that. Oh, I think I'm going to finish this bottle before the workout's over. Okay, get ready for the third chunk. 15 seconds to go. 10 seconds to go. Quick wriggle of your backside, make sure you're comfortable. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. What will hopefully have become apparent is how much easier it is to hit your stroke rate and pace for these 5-minute chunks, whereas the first time round it may have taken you 30 seconds or so because your body wasn't used to it. Now that you've done these first 2 sets, and your body can remember, but more importantly, you've trained your brain to remember what it feels like to row at this rate and pace. It should be a lot easier. And that is basically why we spend a lot of sessions doing different stroke rates and different intensities, is to teach your brain what it feels like to row at different stroke rates. And today's session teaches you about how you cope with raised intensity. So if you were to do a 2K time trial as your first ever row, chances are you'd climb on and go too fast, too soon, and you'd blow up and have to slow down to an end. So the next one, you start to think more about pacing. Don't set out quite as fast. And then, although that'll be better, you'll get to a point when the intensity will be up there and your brain will send so many warning signals to you that you're likely to listen to your brain and give in, slowing down. But then you do a session like this, which, as you reach that 3-minute phase, takes you into that intensity quite quickly. But because you know you will be done in a certain amount of time, it's easier to push through that intensity this time. And then next time you do your 2K and your brain starts to say, this is getting tough, you'll know, because of sessions like this, that actually you've got more in you and you can push on through that intensity. And that is really the point of training like this. Okay, 4 strokes to go, and then we're into our next 3 minutes. One more. Here we go. Big push from the legs. Get that pace up at the same stroke rate. And that's the other beauty of this session, is that by teaching you that you can generate power or speed, sorry, from more power at the same stroke rate, you can start to leverage muscle strength over cardio fitness. So, say in a typical 10k time trial, when I get to 1500 meters to go, I will stay at the same stroke rate, but like we're doing now, I'll up the push from my legs, add power, and then with 500 to go, that's when I'll start to rate up. So increase stroke rate, and eventually that leg power will drop off, and I just increase stroke rate even more into a finish. Okay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. That was fun. 2 more to go. I think. Yeah. This is not going to make for very interesting listening on the podcast. More like a dirty phone call. But, like I say, recovery is key here. Recovering enough so that that first 5-minute hold at 2k plus 12 is exactly that. You can hold it, and it's really important that you hold that 2k plus 12, because what you don't want to do is ease right off to make the 3 minutes manageable, because that's not the point. The point isn't to make the 3 minutes manageable. The point is to find them intense. So I'd rather you held the 2k plus 12 for the 5 minutes and then only made it a minute into the 3 minutes before you're like, I just can't hold this anymore, and have to back off a couple of seconds. Again, I'd really rather you didn't even do that, but if you're going to pick one over the other, hold 2k plus 12 for the 5 minutes so that you can endure as much of that increased intensity with the power from your legs as possible. That's what we're training here today. We're training those 3 minute chunks. We're not training the 5 minutes and 2k plus 12. That's just a means to an end. And we're almost at the end. It's got 2 more sets to do. And thinking back to yesterday when I did it, this is when it started to get quite tough. So let's see how this goes. Ooh, 15 seconds to go. Reseat your seat. Ooh, 10 seconds to go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh. Wow, see when I just stopped there counting, you really feel the heat from the sun, which, because I'm moving backwards and forwards, creating my own breeze, I don't quite realise is pumping into my body. That's okay. Much nicer out here than inside with the fan on. And you'll notice I mowed the lawn for you. There's still a vague smell of petrol fumes in the air. Whew. Right, so right about now is the danger of fatigue setting into me, and so I'm going to project that maybe the same may be happening. We've still got the strength and the power, but just that little bit of fatigue is enough to play havoc with your technique. So remember, into the front, shins to vertical, body tilted over the hips, only to a 1 o'clock position. Arms straight in front of you at a neutral height. So not low, not high. And fingers like hooks over the handle, with your thumbs underneath, but if anything, only lightly touching your index finger. You're not choking the life out of your handle. And those open fingers do give, or open palms, do give a tiny bit of free chain length, and also because your palms are open to the air, air can circulate so they'll get moist from sweat a lot slower than if you had a choking death grip on the handle. Okay, 45 seconds to go. Get yourself ready in the right position to push with your legs. Hold that forward lean and arms straight as you push the machine away. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Big push. 2K plus 5. at the same stroke rate. Hold your forward lean and straight arms until your legs are halfway through the drive. And then, and only then, do you swing your back over your hips and finish with a powerful arm pull, sending elbows through your sides to engage your lats. A slight flare out is okay if it keeps your wrists flat as you finish the handle at sternum height, but unless you've been rowing effectively for years with exaggerated chicken wings, I don't recommend it, as it puts all the force into your forearms, biceps and delts instead of your lats. Come on. 12 more to go. 8, 7, 6. You can tell I'm tired when I just count 3, 2, last one. Oh. I finished 95% of max, 170. Let's see how recovery goes. Last chance for a drink. Well, still got 1 minute 50. So if you're feeling dehydrated right now and you've only got a bit left in your bottle, just finish it. So I'm going to do. But don't empty half a litre down your gullet at once, as that will fill up your stomach and make it really uncomfortable to row. It's a fine line between taking in enough to be hydrated and stay on top of hydration, or just walloping in way too much and suffering some intestinal distress. That's why when you're watching tennis, you'll often see them just sip, because sips like that are much easier for your body to absorb and send away, and then the next one absorb, send away, rather than having a half full stomach filled with whatever juice you have. For what it's worth, this is warm now. It's ice cold when I started and it's all melted. I think this is our final glance at summer, which is a good thing. Okay, 25 seconds to go. here we go, one last set, we've got this. 15 seconds to go. Oh. Get yourself ready. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So our last time at 2k plus 12 at 24. So make sure to stay strong through this. You've only got these 8 minutes remaining, then you're done. Well, we'll have a 2-minute cool down, but in terms of intense rowing, you're done. As much as I was saying not to take in too much water, I think I did. My wee tummy's feeling a bit unhappy. Maybe on days like this, I need to make my isotonic drink instead of just water, which is just sugar-free orange squash into a litre of water, then add in half a teaspoon of sugar. You don't have to use sugar-free squash, but you don't know how much sugar is in there. So diluting juice plus sugar and like half a pinch of salt to get those electrolytes in you. I mean, you could buy something, but usually Gatorade, Lucozade, any kind of aid goes a bit overboard on the sugar content. So at least investigate the sugar content in whatever you drink. But as being, I'm doing all my training right now, right at the end of my 16-hour fast, I don't like taking in calories until those 16 hours are finished. And then I'll have a nice lunch and have scrambled eggs on a toasted English muffin today and wash it down with a protein shake to make sure my body isn't wanting for anything. The protein shake may be a bit much, but especially right after a session like this, I want to make sure my body has instant access to fuel and not even wait for the eggs to digest. So after all, I've only got an 8-hour window to eat in, so I better make the most of it. Okay. Whew. 10 more to go. You ready? 6 more. One last set of power pushes in 2, 1. Here we go. Your legs are the nuclear reactor that is sending all this extra power into the machine. Get it in there from your legs, then top it up at halfway by swinging your back, and then finish it off with that powerful finish with your arms. You'll notice I haven't said at any point to increase the pull from the front of the machine. If you are getting your position right, you'll feel you are hanging off the handle more than you were at 2K plus 12. And that hang with more force is what's putting more power from your arms or through your arms. Your arms only come into play here at the back when you finally bend your elbows. All right, 30 seconds, 12 strokes. Put in that power as much as you can. I want to see blue sparks, blue flame, blue fireball coming off your machine. That's the RowAlong effect. 2 more. 1 more. Ah. That was just as awful as it was yesterday. So, like I said, those 5-minute 24s are just a mid-intensity. You should have been able to continue that first one for a good half hour almost. And then by the end of that half hour, it would have felt intense. Proper, maybe dipping into top then. But the 3 minutes, they quickly break the ceiling of the mid-intensity workout and start to dip into the top intensity workout on the intensity pyramid. But when you average one against the other, look at it overall, it is that mid-tier workout. Remember, the point of these is about exposure to hardship, exposure to this intensity that you need to learn how to get, and that's what they're about. They're not about, oh, I don't think that was 7 out of 10. It's actually more about the training effect than it is about the intensity. The bottom tier and the top tier, definitely, they are about training intensity, because bottom tier, you need it to be long, slow, low rate row, and the top one, you need it to be right up at the top, max heart rate stuff. But this one kind of does surf around the place with always the intention. The most important part of a workout like this is to expose you to intensity for a period of time. Okay, the top tier ones are about max for a short amount of time. This is about exposure, which is why it lasted 5 intervals rather than maybe 3 or 4. Okay, should we get into a 2-minute cool down? I think we should. I've been talking along way too long. 18 strokes a minute in 3, 2, 1. Now pick a pace you're comfortable with here. Whether it's a body weight squat pace, or whether it's 2K plus 30, whatever. Just make sure to row this 2 minutes at a pace where you're connecting with your arms and feet at the same time, and you're giving your brain a chance to remember that this is what rowing feels like, not that ragged nonsense that we were both doing. I don't want to lump you in that ragged nonsense I was doing at the end of that final 3-minute chunk. Because your brain is very clever, but it's also very easy to send it the wrong signals. You want to make sure that you cool down with a good technique so that this is the last thing that your brain thinks of when it comes to rowing, is this nice fluid stroke. And you're in the right positions, and importantly, you feel quite comfortable. Your muscles should also be getting a chance to pump away a bit, flush out the various acids and burn deoxygenated blood that's in them. Get that carbon dioxide out of you. Stops them cramping up and feeling dead the next day. So cool downs are vital, both physically and mentally. That's all I'm saying. Okay, 10 seconds to go. Or maybe a little bit more, or less. All right, all done. Right, either continue doing some light rowing, or use my little sign off here to do some stretching, or just pack up your machine. Just basically don't stand up and walk away because you're going to seize and stuff. So that's what I'm telling you in order to make sure you stay on the machine. Anyway, right. Oh. I seem to have a slippy leg. Thank you so much for doing this one. I'd say again, but of course you only did it once. So as far as I was concerned, that last interval I certainly suffered a lot more. I think I had to back off a second or two. I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I'm going to put that down to the fact I did it yesterday. I didn't back down yesterday, so let's just say that that's what the training effect for me was. I hope it went okay with you. Let me know how you got on with it, because obviously when I'm starting to say like mid-tier, top-tier intensity and things, or even the pacing, I'm kind of gauging that on what it's like for me, with also my knowledge of other rowers, but it's not the same for everyone. Some people absolutely rock the low rate slow stuff and then can't do the fast stuff. Other people are great at the fast stuff and can't do the low rate stuff. So these in-betweeny ones, I'm always interested to see how people get on, especially with the 2K plus 5 power thing. Because again, if nothing else, it's quite revealing for if you've got technique issues, if you're not able to get that pace up by pushing more from the legs, because you should be able to. You should be. Yeah. Anyway, there we go, we're done. I'm off to have my scrambled eggs on a toasted muffin. Yeah, it's been a while since I've spoken about food, so I suppose it's about time I said. Don't know what I'm having for dinner tonight though. What day is it? Wednesday. No, got absolutely no idea. If it was a Friday, I'd know what it was, because obviously that's spaghetti, but on a Wednesday, no idea. So anyway, right, I'm gonna go. I've not really done any random rant on today's. Can't really think of anything to be a random rant. I've not done a hashtag though. Oh crikey. What? I'm lost. What could we talk about for? Because usually I'll leave a hashtag just so you can prove you got to this point in the video and you watched all the way to the end and you were stretching and stuff. So we'll just go push power. Does that make sense? because it's all from the powers from your push. So yeah, hashtag push power. Don't think I've used that one before, because that's the thing, is I'm trying to think of original ones. I would have said fireball, but obviously I've used that one before. So anyway, that's it. I'm done. Away with you. I'll go in, have lunch, whatever, and I will see you either in a completely another random session if you're not doing the 10K plan, or I will see you in week 3, session 2, if you're doing that, which is going to be a 40-minute row, because we've gone 30, 35, then week 3 is 40. Stroke rates and pace, I'll leave that up until you see the session, but that's what it's going to be. All right, thank you so much for being part of this. Stay safe, be well, bye-bye.